Okay, so let's check the balance with the. Can you hear the guitar?
I do.
Sukha karta dukha harta varta vignachi. Okay.
Very well. So nice.
All right. Okay, so we're all set.
Okay, please. So much.
You're welcome. Hello, can you hear me? I'm there.
We hear you. I hear you.
Hello, good morning.
Okay. 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 Welcome everyone again for another music night Sahaja meditation. I think my
You are going.
yes, there's echo.
There is echo. Okay, I'll try and sort it out. Give me a sec.
Okay, please.
Okay, I've put the echo cancellation in. Is that better?
Let's see. Yes, I think yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, welcome again to another musical night with Sahaja meditation, and it is again is privilege for all of us to integrate the world with the universal culture, with the knowledge of the divine experience and the music with another Sahaja Yuga brother. So he is joining from Italy today in our program. So it is really privilege for all of us to welcome him. He's a Sahaja from 1982, many years ago, 38 years ago. And I would like to actually, it is a pleasure that when I was having a first meeting with him, I came to know one of the very young Sahaja Yogi, who is Leon. If you remember him, he joined in our program last year in November. He joined in our program with his star. It was a beautiful program with him. And so he is his father. He is joining to our program today, and his name is Victor Vertunni. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, good morning. Buongiorno, I should say, here from Italy.
Bonjour. So we are so excited to have you in our program today, Victor, and it is really I'm so excited that you are
Oh,
here
it's a
today
pleasure.
with your
It's a joy.
experience, with your music, and so as we talk, and first, of course, we start for the meditation. Who are joining to our program today? What we do, we start first the meditation, and then after the meditation, definitely, of course, there is always music. As you know, the music really helps for everyone to go into deep meditation, especially the realized souls who got their self-realization with their awakening of Kundalini when they play or when they sing, and it touches in our heart. Basically, touch the self, which is the spirit. And so when they play, when they do any music, and it rises up collectively, and that is the reason that we always ask the musician yogis to join our program, that we can collectively grow and we can collectively understand this knowledge of divine. We are, if we are experiencing any difficulties or any obstacles in our life, individually or collectively, and it dissolves it, not only with the music, by listening to the experience, because whoever have the same experience of the maybe some obstacle individually, and when we hear any experience, it really helps for us to understand it inside and outside. So this is the reason that we always do this program, and I hope it is really helping to you all. So let's start for the meditation, and then of course after the meditation and the music, we love to hear the experience of the Sahaja yogi who is joining today, and then we will have more music and beautiful music from him. So I will hand over to you right now, Victor. Whenever you are ready, we can
Yes.
start for the meditation.
Well, first of all, it's a pleasure and honor actually to do this, to join you all. It's wonderful. I wish I could see you all, but I can feel you all. And actually, that's the beauty of it. We can all feel how connected we are. And perhaps that's the first thing we could do before we even raise our kundalinis and start this experience this morning, is just to see if we feel this cool breeze on our hands. So if we all hold our hands out, and just for a moment, see if we can feel this energy flowing in the palms of our hands. And some of us may be new to this experience. Personally, it took me a little while before I felt it clearly. So let's just do that. Let's just raise the energy with our right hand to the top of our head, as if you were putting your hand in a beautiful flowing stream of water and just bringing it and gently pouring it on the top of your head, like a little fountain, a few times. And then just check and see if you feel it already flowing. Okay. So let's just put our hands on our knees for a moment and take a deep breath in, so that we feel our breath drop as low as possible, so it's actually coming from below the lungs, from the Swadhisthana area, from the abdominal area, removing all tensions in our body. Deep breath, in, out. Slow, steady breath. Now, let's raise our kundalini together with both hands slowly, in our own time, connecting with the flow of energy rising from the base of the spine to the top of our head. And we make a knot. Now, it's even more powerful when we do it together. And Sri Mataji said we should look up if we make those knots. So we fix our attention at the top of our head. And now the bandans of protection around our subtle system, spreading the energy from the left side to the right, sweeping our hand around our body, and as we do so, perhaps we can already feel the flow, Mother's grace flowing through our hands. 7 times backwards and forwards. Now this morning we will simply have a quiet meditation with some music, enjoying the vibrations that are flowing through us, around us, between us, enveloping and embracing us in this field of love. Now, as it's late at your end of the pond, as we say, you might prefer to keep your eyes open and look at Sri Mataji's photograph. We can put our right hand on our heart and say, Mother, I am the Spirit. Mother, I am the Spirit. I'm not this body. I'm not this mind, the emotions, or my thoughts. I am the eternal Spirit, infinite, unbounded, loving Spirit. By your grace, Sri Mataji, you have enabled me to unite with the all-pervading power of God's love, flowing from your lotus feet. We can lower our hand now on our knee and put our attention on our roots, the roots of this tree of life, of the subtle system, the kundalini, the chakras, the channels. We can put our right hand towards the ground or on the ground and ask Mother Kundalini, Sri Mataji, please awaken the essence of Sri Ganesha within me, which is nothing but eternal joy, eternal wisdom, purity, and surrender to your all-pervading power. Lord Ganesha, please awaken the pure bhakti, the pure devotion within me, the pure desire. harta dukha harta varta vignachi urvi purvi prem krupal jayachi Sarvangi sundaruti shendurachi Kanti jalke mal mukta falanchi Jai Deva Jai Mangala Murti Darshan Matre Mana Kamana Purti Jai Deva Jai Mangala Murti Darshan Matre Mana Kamana Purti Radna Kachita Fara Tuza Gauri Kumara Chandana Chiyoti Kumkum Keshera Ire Jadita Mukuta Shobha Tobara Runjunti Nupure Charani Gagarya Jai Deva Jai Mangala Murti Darshan Matre Mana Kamana Purti Jai Deva Jai Mangala Murti Darshan Matre Mana Kamana Purti Lambodar Pitambar Fanivar Vandana Saril Sunda Vakra Tunda Trinayana Das Ramachavat Pai Sadana Nirvani Sankashte Survar Vandana Jai Deva Jai Mangala Murti Darshan Matre Mana Kamana Purti Jai Deva Jai Mangala Murti Darshan Matre Mana Kamana Purti Jai Deva Jai Mangala Murti Darshan Matre Mana Kamana Purti Jai Deva Mangala Murti Mangala Murti Mangala Murti Lord Ganesha is the essence of the quest for moksha, liberation, freedom from all mental boundaries, the mind-forged manacles created by man, as William Blake said. O Lord Ganesha, please, may we dance at the goddess's feet, the almighty power who liberates us. And the power is within us, in all of us, in the form of the Kundalini, the reflected power of the Mother Goddess of creation of the universe. She reposes within the sacrum bone until she is awakened, until that impulse of purity and auspiciousness allows it to rise. And that is the power of Sri Ganesha. And now let us pay our respects to the Kundalini. The song is called Kundalini Mother, Sacred Mother, and it's dedicated to her, who tirelessly travelled the world for 40 years to awaken the Kundalini in millions of people. Can you feel the cool wind blow? How it flows and it flows. There's a silence in my heart. It grows and it grows. See the light shine within. A beam of love so pure. You may say it's all a dream, but we can show it's true. Yes, we can show it's true. Kundalini, Sacred Mother, Holy Spirit, pure white dove. Kundalini, Sacred Mother, make us rise on your wings of love. Make us rise on your wings of love. She guides us every day as fortune comes our way. All we have to do is listen to the flow of love within. So arise and join us. Do not wander anymore in the maze of illusion. The cells of man-made law, the cells of man-made law. Kundalini, Sacred Mother, Holy Spirit, pure white dove. Kundalini, Sacred Mother, make us rise on your wings of love. Make us rise on your wings of love. We are the creation of Mother Earth and Sea. The wind of inspiration is blessing you and me. Our mother is the Kumbha. She carries everywhere the water of the Spirit, that we may grow aware, that we may grow aware. Kundalini, Sacred Mother, Holy Spirit, your white dove. Kundalini, Sacred Mother, make us rise on your wings of love. Make us rise on your wings of love. Make us rise, make us rise, make us rise. Oh, make us rise. Oh, make us rise. Make us rise before your eyes. Let's take in the bliss, the breeze, the grace that flows within and without, making us one, dissolving all the barriers, all the boundaries and limitations of the past, all expectations of the future. Mother, I surrender to your all-pervading power of love. How do we expand? How do we grow? How do we rise spiritually? If not by surrendering, if not by creating the space in our heart for the divine essence to shine. Shri Mataji gave us a prayer for this, and it goes like this. We can all say it together. Mother, please come in my heart. Let me clean my heart so that you are there. Put your feet into my heart. Let your feet be worshipped in my heart. Let me not be in illusion. Keep me away from delusion. Keep me away from thoughts. Keep me in reality. Take away the sheen of superficiality. Mother, let me enjoy your feet in my heart. Mother, let me see your feet in my heart. Mother, allow me, please, to garland your feet in the temple of my heart. Sachitanandarupam Sachitanandarupam Shivoham 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 Elohim Allah Yahweh Shiva Sachitanandarupam Sachitanandarupam Shivoham 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 Parameshwari Parameshwara Maheshwari Adi Shakti Sachitanandarupam Sachitanandarupam Shivoham 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 Sachitanandarupam Sachitanandarupam Shivoham 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 As Lord Shankaracharya said, I am eternal bliss and surrender. I am Shiva. I am Shiva. A particle, a droplet that dissolves in the ocean of the all-pervading power of God's love, compassion, consciousness. We can thank our Divine Mother for opening the gateway to our self-realization. We can thank her by singing together the three great mantras of the Sahasrara, praising all her qualities that are awakened within us and flower as the 1,000-petal lotus at the top of our head, in all its colours, in all its fragrances. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Mahakali Trigunatmika Kundalini Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Kalki Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Kalaki Sakshat Shri Sahasrara Swamini Moksha Pradayini Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Millions of pilgrims, of devotees, go to the great Ganga river, the Ganges in India, to immerse themselves in the purifying waters that flow from the Himalayas. And we can immerse ourselves in the flow of this divine river within us, which purifies, which nourishes, which loves us. May this love flow throughout the whole world, to all our friends, our families, our communities, to the entire human race. Jai Shri Mataji.
Shimataji Victor, thank you so much. Such a wonderful meditation, amazing meditation, beautiful music, and your voice. I mean, I can tell you really touch into divinity it yourself. I really feel, and that divinity we could able to touch also. That put us into such a deep meditation. It's very deep meditation. It was
Thank
hard
you.
to open my eyes. Wonderful meditation with the music. Amazing. Thank you.
It's all by Mother's grace. None of this would be possible, um, if she hadn't just revealed it to us. And I think all we can feel ultimately is gratitude for that. And that's all I do, is just try to express my gratitude and thanks, which is what we all feel, I guess, in our hearts. Thank you.
Wonderful. So nice. But that is again through your achievement that we all felt the same thing, because it really, you touch everyone's spirit today, everyone's heart with your voice, your real life. Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely.
My pleasure,
My,
my joy, a joy.
I know
It's
I'm
actually
sure
so
Miss
nice to feel everybody together. Actually, it's amazing how we can, the images obviously go through the Wi-Fi, but the vibrations are there. They're flowing and between us, and it's one can feel that closeness, even though we're so far apart.
that really makes us so much, it gives so much happiness, and it gives us such an excitement that we know that we are able to see each other, we are able to connect with the through the ether. I mean, we are all far, but it's amazing integration. Earlier,
Shri Krishna's element, isn't it? Shri Krishna's element, the
exactly, and
ether, the Vishuddhi.
that Shri Krishna's quality you have so much within with yours.
No, I
I know, I know. but it is true. It is a fact because of the vibrations tell us. It was
Well,
beautiful.
I'm just grateful. For me, it's never something I can take for granted. Especially at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. The voice isn't quite warmed up yet, but I mean, in the end, it doesn't matter. The little mistakes or whatever. It's the intention, isn't it? That matters. Can I just say how beautiful the setting is behind you? You have this beautiful photograph of Sri Mataji and this lovely um, blossoming tree, which is so appropriate for spring now. Is it a cherry tree?
It looks like, right? It's
Yeah.
just a room divider, and I really thought this is just for Shrimataji. And
Your voice is very low.
oh, my voice is very low.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, okay, Victor, do you also hear me very difficult? Are you
No,
able
no,
to
I
hear?
can hear you, but I've got a volume control. I can raise it up. I can hear you. I've always been. Yeah, it's better now. It's better now.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, maybe I will be closer to
Yeah.
my voice. Okay. So I hope it is okay now, Sima Didi.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's okay, perfect. Maybe I was too far. Okay. So, okay, I know many people, I'm sure they would like to express themselves. Let's maybe first we would like to know you more, but after that, you may ask questions to Victor, and you can do some conversation with him. And but let's find out who is Victor. And of course, it's
I'm trying to find that out myself.
we all are, right? We are still
Right.
seeker. Yeah. So yeah, at the beginning of our meeting, as I told Victor, is Sahaja from 1982, but also he's born of course, he lives in Italy, but he's born in London. And I have a little note I would like to, I don't want to miss it. He's also voice over artist, singer, and a songwriter and educator. And so also he is particularly noted for his melodic adaptations of William Blake's Song of Innocence of Experience. So he's fan of actually William Blake. I know that he will be singing some song of his poets, and it's
Hmm.
beautiful. They are so beautiful, and definitely we will be listening of his songs from the William Blake's poets. So that is another part that it will come, and but also we would like to hear from you, Victor. And before the Sahaja Yoga, of course, long time ago, when you were 5 and 6 years old, you had a
Yeah, in the last century. In the
yes,
last century.
well, it was a long time ago, yeah, right? So 5 and 6 years old, and you really felt such amazing thing within. Could you please tell us? Let's start from there and then go to Sahaja Yoga journey.
Yes, I think I was very blessed when I was very young, when I was about 7, to have an experience which would actually allow me to be able, after that experience, to measure all other experiences in a sense, in terms of how real life I felt, and in the moment I felt. It was in Greece where I lived with my parents. My father was a diplomat; he was posted there, and it was, I remember, an afternoon, late afternoon. It was dusk, and the sun was going down, so the sky was kind of, there's lovely colours with a lot of orange, and it had snowed. So it was actually winter, and the snow had covered the ground outside, the buildings, and it was kind of the siesta time, so there weren't any voices. It was very quiet outside, so, and serene. My parents were resting. It was in the afternoon. I went outside, actually probably disobeying my mum because it was cold, but I went outside, and I sort of stood out on the balcony, little boy, looking out, and at this expanse of snow, and silence and light. And I experienced the silence within myself suddenly. The mind just switched off, and I was aware that a kind of invisible division between myself and the outside had gone, and I felt completely one and sort of real in the moment, really conscious and present in a way that I haven't felt before. And it was very, very pleasant, very beautiful, and I was in that state for a few moments until my mother's voice called me from outside. "What are you doing out there? It's cold. Come inside," kind of thing. And the spell was kind of broken. And actually, what I wanted to do was to ask her to come and join me and have this wonderful experience. But sadly, duality came back, and I was suddenly conscious of the fact that there were these rules and regulations and expectations. And actually, to be honest, they were very frustrating as I grew up, to feel that what I was inside, there was some sort of constriction from the outside that blocked it. I once again, we were very fortunate to have someone looking after us, a lovely lady, while my mother went about her diplomatic duties. And she took us to her village once, beyond the border of Greece, into, and I'm not sure if it was Macedonia or Bulgaria. Anyway, there were border guards. We pretended to be asleep because we didn't have passports. It was quite an adventure. We went through, and the train stopped at a station over the border, which didn't have a platform. It didn't have many buildings, and we had to get out. We'd arrived, and I remember red earth, because I think it had drizzled, and you know how the rain brings up the colour of the earth, and it was this intense kind of reddish colour, orange-red, and there were chickens running around the railway lines. And I suddenly felt, oh wow, I'm here, I'm home. I felt really at home in that country environment, away from, kind of civilization in inverted commas, which I found very oppressive, actually. And I suddenly feel liberated. And I went again into this state of feeling not myself anymore, not the victor that I was supposed to be, but something else, something that was free. And I thought, I don't want to go back. I want to stay here. But of course I had to go back. And those moments gave me a benchmark of what freedom was, of what it was to be one's real self, and what reality was, which is just boundless, without thought. And it gave me a way to measure and then intensely seek for the switches, the internal mechanism that would allow me to have this later on in life, when I realized that actually, satisfaction and joy cannot come from an external source, because even if you have it for a moment, the so-called joy, it disappears, it's gone, it's taken away. There are calamities, there's COVID, things happen that you cannot control. So where is that joy? How can you find a constant level of peace within you and wellness and fulfillment? So you don't have to compete for fulfillment, for, validation, that you are complete in yourself. And when I started seeking, I have to say, I was blessed immediately. I didn't have to go very far when I was 19. I immediately met a Sahaja yogi, and I was spared all the elliptical, circular tangents of ascent and descent towards the final goal.
So, Victor, I would like to go also like historical way, like by year. So let's pause over there, and then I really want everyone to hear, when you were 11 years old, there was something amazing experience you had it.
Well, yes, I did.
Step other, yeah, please.
Yeah, again, this is uncharted. It was uncharted territory for me, because I didn't know what really it all depended on, and how come these experiences happened. And I had to sing in the choir at school, and I happened to be in a Catholic boarding school far from home, and there was a Sunday ceremony called Mass, which involves a lot of incense and smoke and chanting and rituals and interesting costumes that are worn by the religious figures. I also had a kind of choir boy's costume on, and after the sort of main part, I had to get up and sing. I was supposed to stand up and sing from Bach's Messiah, which is a beautiful, Handel's Messiah, which is a beautiful celebration, of divinity, And there were these words that I'd sung, and I didn't read music. I learnt everything by ear, so I kind of had to feel my way. And I never knew if I would. I was hoping I would remember the words and the tune, and the organ started playing, and the words were, "Comfort ye, comfort ye, be comforted, comfort ye my people, saith your God, saith your God." And it was very, very beautiful. And to me, saith your God was God says. Listen, everybody, God says, be comforted. So it was like reporting what God said. But in the moment of the singing, something happened, and suddenly I was not myself anymore. And the flow of notes and words came out of my mouth as if it was God speaking. So it's not says God, but God says to you through me. And it was like, I remember the tune, it was like, but I was not me. It's nothing to do with my ego. It was just dissolved. I was witnessing this message coming through me, and it was like this, like, comfort ye, comfort ye my people, comfort ye, saith your God, saith your God. And that was it. And I had an epiphany, and I felt cool in my hands, in my body, and I remained in a sort of state of real humility, because you surrender to, you see something, you feel blissful, and I just thought, I wonder if anybody else feels it. So I looked around and tried to catch somebody's eyes, even afterwards, and I saw it wasn't reciprocal. There wasn't a connection between what I was feeling and where they were at. So it was, and then of course it disappeared. I remember the next day, it's very funny, I was on a list of boys that had to go and see the headmaster to receive a punishment, to be caned. In those days they had corporal punishment. We used to get beaten. I hadn't done anything particularly serious, I think, but it was just one of those things. It was the way to turn you into a man, and conquer the empire, a kind of classic British education. Anyway, I was queuing outside the headmaster's office the next day after breakfast. You actually went there on your own accord. This was supposed to be character building. You go to receive your punishment. Anyway, I was waiting, and then I went in. And you could hear the the whipping. And it was very, and then my turn came, and I went in, and the headmaster was there, and he had his back to me, and he was selecting the weapon, because they had different kinds of canes depending on the severity. A wooden cane. There was even an aerial, a car aerial that they used as well for very serious offences. This was a very exclusive, highly expensive boarding school, by the way, where people sent their kids to be tortured. I joke. Anyway, he came and he looked at me, and I could see, because he'd been at the mass, he'd been there in the front row as the headmaster, and he'd heard the song, and I could see he had difficulty executing the punishment, and he'd sort of said, well, I'm sorry, but I have to do this. I said, yeah, okay, all right, no worries, don't worry, kind of thing. So that was life at the time. I was 11.
Amazing. So let's say when you were around 4 or 5, you really felt one day oneness. You really felt everything inside, and you become one with the universe, right? And 11-year old, when you were 11-year old, you felt the same thing, and then so and then over the years, when you become teenager, how you and then of course again, how did you search this oneness feeling before you going to Sahaja Yoga? How you find
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, uh, I can say that I was always searching again for this absolute joy and fulfillment in everything, and finding that any sort of external form, anything I did or tried to do, couldn't, it didn't actually provide it. I knew it wouldn't, so. I remember it culminated in London. I shared a flat with some friends after this boarding school and immersed myself in rather hedonistic London life with my friends. And I remember sitting in a pub and everybody had a pint of beer in front of them. And I remember that they were on their first or maybe their third beer, but I hadn't touched mine. It was there. It was just sitting in front of me all evening. And I felt more and more estranged from them and this group of people, and I felt I love them, they're like my brothers, but I'm not part of this. This isn't my life. Won't get me. I saw it as a dead end, a total dead end. And I sort of left them entirely. I just didn't go out with them anymore. And I started seeking for a way. Is there a technique to find this joy? Because I'd lost it. I couldn't feel it anymore. I wasn't integrated within myself. I'd kind of become fragmented. Things were kind of messed up. And I thought, I can't, even going out to the countryside wouldn't get it back, or I'd lost it. And I thought, I got to get back to this place. And I thought, it must be a technique. What is it? And I started seeking. And I went to a place called Neal's Yard in London in Covent Garden. And they had a therapy centre. I went up there. They had a catalogue of 50 different kind of therapies and things, and Gestalt and all kinds of things. I don't think Reiki had even been started at that point, but they had acupuncture and biodynamics, bioenergetics, this, that, and the other, meditation. And I looked, and there was a price tag at the end of each one. I thought, look, I don't have the time in this life or the money to try all this stuff. But they were all pointing to one thing, which is to remove barriers internally for the energy to flow and for consciousness to kind of manifest fully, And I thought, well, yes, that's it, but how? Then subsequently, at the same place, I happened to see a little ad that said Introduction to Meditation, such and such a time and date at that place. So I went there a couple of days later, very eager to find somewhere where I could have an experience of some sort. And it looked very sort of dark and quiet as I went up the stairs. And I thought, am I in the right place? Yes, I was in the right place. The door, I could hear there were voices on the other side of the door. I knocked on the door, opened, went in, and there were kind of 3 people sitting, alternative types. They had kind of their own hand-knitted jumpers and hats and, kind of leather shoes, but sewn. But I mean, they were very alternative, colourful people rolling up cigarettes, And I thought, they looked at me and I looked at them and they said, hello, can we help you? And I said, yeah, is this the meditation meeting? And they said, no, actually, it's the Biological Cheesemakers Cooperative meeting. Something like that. And I thought, oh, my heart sunk, And then one of them, a young woman, kind of smiled at me and she said, well, what are you looking for exactly? What am I looking for? I thought, well, that's the big question. And I said, very naively, I said, actually, I don't know really what it is. And she said, oh, don't worry. Maybe I can help you. After the meeting, we'll go and have a coffee together, which we did in Covent Garden. Covent Garden was just beginning to become this lovely, having this rebirth from being a vegetable market and fruit market into becoming Covent Garden, the tourist attraction. for the world now, but it was just starting in those days. And we sat in this cafe with a steaming hot tea. And again, she says, "What are you looking for?" And I said, "You'll think I'm crazy." Her name was Chantal. "You'll think I'm crazy, Chantal, but I'm looking for myself, my real self." And she said, "Of course. It's the noblest quest. It's the noblest quest. It's the highest pursuit. You know, in India, there are people like you, you're called seekers and you're sadhus. You know, you sit somewhere and they bring you fruit and garland you. People renounce everything in life to find it." And I suddenly thought, oh, I'm not just a sort of useless dropout who can't find his place in society. This condition isn't an illness, a pathology. It's actually something. I felt validated for a moment, for the first time in my life. Somebody knew what I was talking about, who wasn't scrutinizing me like a psychiatrist or something to find out what was wrong with me, why I didn't feel myself, you know. And which self do psychologist. And I said, well, yeah. And she said, well, I said, how do you get this? And she said, it's called yoga. And I'll show you, she says. She takes a table napkin and she looks for a pen and can't find a pen. She takes an eyeliner, and on the table napkin, I wish I still had it, she drew the chakra system. And she said, look, we have this system within us, and the energy is awakened, and you get your self-realization is like the breaking of an egg, and the bird flies out, and you feel this cool breeze, and you feel yourself. And I thought, sounds wonderful, but what has spirituality got to do with electricity? It looked like a sort of electrical circuit. I thought it was technical. I thought, I thought it was dissolving into some beautiful thing, But I said, okay, all right, okay, great. When can I have it? She said, any time, actually, but perhaps not here. People will feel, they'll start staring at us because you have to move your hands. And I said, yeah, okay, let's go somewhere. She said, well, you can come to a meeting. I said, when's the meeting? She said, next week. I said, I can't wait that long. And I think she took pity on me, and she said, okay, you can come home, meet my friends, have dinner, and then we can meditate together. And that's how my journey started.
Nice, beautiful. You are such a storyteller, Victor. I was able to put everyone in one place in England, in that street, and in that pub, and the person who was talking about Sahaja is amazing. So sweet. And okay, so you got your realization 1982, and when did you meet Sri Mataji very first time?
Well, that was the real beginning, I think, for me, meeting Sri Mataji, because I hadn't really felt a lot of vibrations. I hadn't really felt any big changes in myself, although I recognized that Sahaja Yoga was the way. It made total sense, and I had a great respect for these yogis who were looking after me or wanted me to ascend, and I felt their complete selfless concern for me, because after all, they'd been seekers as well, so they had that compassion. But it was the time where yogis were expected to transform the world immediately, instantly. There was the Last Judgment, so all the yogis were very, very, very active and dynamic, So luckily, they remembered to call me when Mother arrived at Heathrow Airport in May 1983. And, of course, people had told me about her, and I did my best to try and appreciate and really realize and recognize for myself who she was, But everybody seemed to have a veneration for her, and I genuinely also wanted to recognize her. Anyway, I'd seen her in a photograph. I got this call. I went to the airport. There weren't many people because it was a weekday. There were maybe 20 people with lots of flowers, and I didn't know. I didn't have a flower. And Mother arrived in a car from the VIP area of the airport. She'd come from India, so she'd had a very long journey. The car door opens. There's this excitement in the air. Sri Mataji comes out, radiant, this smile, this beautiful, beautiful smile, and she had a beige coat and a sort of Hermes, if anybody knows, scarf, which is a kind of silk scarf, not an Indian veil, but it was a scarf. And she looked so motherly, and this smile from, amazing. And I looked at her when she had this red bindi on her, and she said, "How are you?" to everybody, as if she just, after this long journey. I looked at her and I thought immediately, from the first glimpse of her, I knew that she was the one. I didn't know who exactly she is. I just knew she's the one. I'm home. This is it. She knows. She has the answers. I felt completely at ease, completely overwhelmed to see her. And the yogis sort of gathered around her to give her their flower. And the first thing, of course, Mother, who was down to business immediately. So, how are the programs going? Programs of Sahaja. How many new people are there? Are there any new people? Suddenly, all eyes turned towards me. Yes, Mother, and we have one here. We have one here. We prepared earlier. I was the new seeker. And I was blessed to have that opportunity, because I was able to come near to her and offer her a flower, which actually I probably picked up on the way to her, because I don't think I had one. And I actually knelt down. I got down on one knee and held the flower up to her, and she took the flower, and she always smelt the flower that she was given, the fragrance of the flower, and then she either put it in her other hand or she handed it to someone, and she did something very most unusual, apparently, because it isn't customary in India. She gave me her hand. She put her hand forward, and I did for me what was natural and what I'd been trained to do by my father, which was to take it and kiss it. And, I remember my father, who'd passed away by then, bless him, had come from an old Italian family of noble aristocrats. And actually, the education I received consisted mainly in, if you find yourself at a state banquet and there's a battery of glasses and forks and knives, he taught me which one to use and not to use. And, when the finger bowl came with fruit, not to drink from the bowl, but it's to rinse your fingers when you take the fruit, or rinse the... He taught me all kinds of etiquette things, which I thought were entirely superfluous, especially in the 20th century. Something maybe in sort of a Tolstoy book or Jane Austen or something in those. Anyway, he taught me all that, but he said something which I'm grateful for. He said, when you go in society and a function and you meet a lady, if she gives you her hand, okay, if she's not married, you shake her hand. If she's married, you can you kiss her hand, okay. If she is a lady, a duchess, you bow like this and kiss her hand. But if you ever meet the Queen, you go down on your knees. You go down on your knee and bow. And if she gives you her hand, then you may kiss it. The Queen. And, I mean, I met the goddess, and she gave me her hand, and I'm forever grateful, because she put me at peace with my father somehow, as well.
So beautiful, so beautiful, so nice those stories. And I know many. I think of other friends, other surgeons. They would like to ask some question, but I have another. You have another beautiful story. Just a very, if you can tell us, because we earlier we were talking about the faith, and which is actually this vibrations is the power of all pervading. Actually, the vibrations comes from the all power, divine power of divine's love, and she's the source of this. And so when you surrender yourself, and you always find the answer. And one day you ask one question, and you really want to know your partner who will be always in your your life. So just a small with a small detail, could you please tell us this?
I'll tell you the story because it testifies to how Sri Mataji took care of us, takes care of us, every aspect of our life, not just taking you to higher spiritual height and depth within your soul, within yourself, but she used to cook us meals. She used to give us presents. She used to supervise the decorations and arrangements and building in her houses, which we had the privilege to be able to therefore be in her presence. So a kind of completely holistic spiritual experience that touched every area of our lives. And of course, very important area of our lives is our family life and settling in with a partner and having a family, etc. And I came to that age at university where I was feeling a little bit lonely on my own. And one day, as I was meditating in front of her photograph, I just blurted it out. I couldn't sort of contain it anymore. And I said, "Mother, please, can you find me a wife?" I said it out loud to the photograph, "Mother, please, can you find me a partner in life?" And I meant someone with whom I could share also the spiritual quest, the same, if you like, path in Sahaja Yoga. That was very important. I couldn't contemplate not having that true complicity because it was the most important thing in my life, And so I didn't trust my judgment very much, which is why I asked Mother to find me a suitable partner, And anyway, that prayer was not unheard because a couple of months later, after Sahasrara, actually, this is an important part of it. I went to Sahasrara a few weeks later, actually abandoning my final exams. I had exams on Monday, starting final exams, and the puja courses on a Saturday and Sunday in Switzerland. So there was a real risk that I would miss my final exams. But I went to it all the same. I thought, I need to prepare my mind anyway for the exam. What better way than going to a Sahasrara puja, which I did. And there, on Saturday evening, there was a performance of music at the time. I mean, I think there were very few bhajans at the time, and everybody was still learning how to celebrate and worship and express bhakti through music and dance. And this young girl comes in front of Sri Mataji on the stage. Mother is actually on the stage as well. She comes in this white dress, and the music starts, and she starts dancing. And the dance was the dance of the Kundalini. And really, I could see, okay, she's a trained dancer because she was very, 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 very good. But before she started, and this is the thing that really, really, really touched me, she went up to Sri Mataji and bowed before her. She prostrated herself before Sri Mataji. So, with such deep, you could see, devotion to her, that I suddenly felt in my heart, gosh, what a deep person, what a deep soul. Now, if I had to marry someone, I'd love to marry someone with that kind of devotion for Mother. And I think it was a pure desire because it was so distant, it was so far. It was happening there, and I couldn't help this thought. Anyway, she danced for Sri Mataji, and it was absolutely sublime. It was beautiful and very innovative at the time. It was fusion because there was some tabla and synthesizer, and anyway, that was that. I went into a meditative state. I went into a deep meditative state as a result of this homage, if you like, to Sri Mataji through dance. And I remember I remember. I remember after the puja, Sri Mataji called all the young girls for names, all the children for names. So there were like 4 or 5. But amidst the 4 or 5-year-olds, there stood out a very tall young lady who happened to be the dancer. And she asked Sri Mataji for a name, and she gave her a name, Purna. And I have to say, there's a mire involved. I have to admit that she asked her if she was married or engaged. And I heard Mother say, I will find you a nice boy. And I felt in my heart, I hope it's me. Okay, now this is probably Maya, because nobody remembers Mother saying this except me. So it could have been wishful thinking. Anyway, what I did was I put a bandan, literally forgot about it. There was the puja. I never spoke to this girl, never went up, never approached to her, never thought of her, okay, afterwards. But I remember going to the airport later after my finals. I went back, I got in time for my exam. I didn't sleep that night travelling to get to my final exams. I passed. I got a respectable degree, and after the degree ceremony I came to live in London in an ashram, and I was on my own in the ashram. The phone rings and it says, somebody says, come to the airport, Sri Mataji's leaving. In those days, they were so kind, they used to call you and bring you along. And I must say I felt a little bit unworthy to be in Mother's presence at that moment. And it was almost, I always was looking for an excuse not to go, almost. But then something inside me said, but she's your mother. She's leaving. How can you let your mother leave without seeing her and saying goodbye? I was overwhelmed with that feeling. And so I rushed to the airport, and Mother got up from the cafe where she was having coffee, and the leader said to me, go and check on the announcement board to see where the gate is. And something locked me in my position. Instead of running along, I just couldn't move. I thought, I'm not leaving. I can't go from here. At that moment, I didn't follow his request. I mean, it was an important thing. Suddenly, I find Mother in front of me with her back to me, and she turns round and she smiles at me, and she says, hello. She says, Victor, how are you? Do you want to get married? And I said, yes, please, Mother. And she says, I found a girl for you. She's a dancer. She lives in Italy, in Rome ashram. Her name is Purna. Monia. She'd given her the name Purna, but she called her Monia. And I really didn't click. You know how it is, you don't think, you don't dare think. And I didn't. I just looked at Mother, and everybody was very happy. And Sri Mataji was very happy, and she then took my arm and she led me to the gate. She knew where the gate was. She went straight to the gate and she held my arm and I felt just like, I was just melting, and she went through the barrier and she waved at everybody, and it was just like such a family and beautiful, beautiful moment. And of course it was Purna and the girl who had danced for Mother, so.
Beautiful. So nice. So beautiful story. Thank you, Victor.
I mean, I'm blessed, and it was very. She's not here today. She's in Cabela. She's busy, but we have 2 sons, and the rest is history, as they say.
Definitely, maybe one day we will have a whole family, Leon and Purna and yourself.
And Maxime.
Another boy,
Yeah.
Yes, please. Yeah, whenever everyone comes together, we love to have you all, and we can listen to other stories, and then also definitely the music and some guitar, some sitar, and Maxi plays also some instrument. Does he play any instrument?
Yeah, he does. He plays the double bass.
Oh, wow.
The bass, and he's talented, and he's an artist, and He's teaching in the Cabela school at the moment. He's a dorm uncle and teaching art and Italian.
Oh, beautiful. So, such a musical families you have. All the musicians. Okay, that's wonderful. I know there are many, many stories, many different experience, but I see in the chat box there are some expression towards you. I don't know if you could able to read.
Of course. No, I can't.
I will read for you. It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah, please, no worries. And then after that we can start again music. But of course, before the music, if anyone wants to ask any question, we will let them to know. We will hand over to them. So we will start from, let's see, Arda. Thanks so much, Victor. Beautiful song. So much love and vibrations. Jai Shri Mataji.
Hi, Ada. Thank you very much. I remember you. Big hug. Big hug, my brother.
Yes, from New York, right?
Right.
Yes, and Shailaja, thank you, Victor, for a beautiful and deep meditation experience. You have such a beautiful and divine voice. I agree. And
Thank
Soha,
you.
thank you so much. Incomplete thoughtless. And Srinath, thank you very much for the great meditation. Cecilia, thank you. I am grateful. So these are the towards you all those expressions, and I would like to hand over to others if they would like to say anything to you and ask question. So now your turn. Please, if you have any question, please do it before we start our other music.
In the chat or with their mic, Senai?
There is actually everyone can make themselves unmute and they can speak. Yeah, if anyone would like to do it.
Hey, Victor, this is Sandeep Joshi, and I was really mesmerized by each of your stories. Like, they were so vivid, and as you were narrating those experiences, it felt like we were there, you know. So you are a very, as Shania said, you are a very good storyteller. I don't know whether you ever contemplated writing a book about your experience. It's really good. Like, I was mesmerized by the way you were telling.
I bet, I think we have a duty to write a book, all of us, of our experiences, which I will do. But for me, it's just if we can convey and share what Mother's, how Mother was, how extraordinary Mother was, and her love, and how we experienced that love as her disciples. I think it's very inspiring, and I always get inspired retelling it and reliving it. So I really appreciate the feedback that it comes across, because what amazes me about Sri Mataji is how many lives she touched. Thousands. I mean, like my story, there are thousands. I mean, how did she in one lifetime touch so many people's lives in such a profound way, in such a motherly way? Extraordinary.
Awesome. And Victor, one more question I always had in my mind, and it, while you were playing the guitar, it kind of came again, because I recently saw this movie, and I'm sure you must have seen this, The Pianist. And it was a 2002 film. It won a lot of Academy Awards too. It was about a Polish pianist who, Adrian Brody is the actor, if you must have seen the movie. It is about all the war atrocity that the Nazis did on Poland, and he was a great musician who survived the Holocaust and survived. That's the whole movie about. But then when you were playing the music, I felt like that Europeans are more receptive. I felt, having lived in US for so long. Is that true because of the world wars that Europe went through, and so many wars and atrocities happened in Europe? Is that one of the reasons they are very keen on seeking? Because I grew up in India. In India, of course, as you said, you are kind of born in a land of seeking. So it naturally, the society kind of makes you go towards that. But I've seen Europeans very much eager on seeking. Is that a good observation, or is that just a coincidence I have observed?
Yes, it is. It's also, I think, the disillusionment with established institutional forms of religion, spirituality, government, which are all kind of, if you like, used for power. And so that disillusionment, that evidence that we've had, the suffering, but not so much the suffering, by a sort of process of elimination, leads us to search within ourselves, or to search for an alternative, something which hasn't been charted. And of course, unfortunately, it is uncharted in the West. We don't know about or we didn't until recently, that there was a subtle system, a mechanism, the map. We had no idea there was yoga and what it consisted. If perhaps we thought it was a kind of gymnastics, we didn't know that there is a mechanism. So our search is very intense and profound, because we're trying to find it where it isn't, and it's not around us. So where is it? And there is this strong sense. In India, you have reference points, the pathway, the map, the journey that has been already undertaken by so many great seekers and souls. We have Carl Jung. Sri Mataji once twice said to me that Carl Jung, our great psychologist, that he had the finest Western mind. He was the greatest Western intellectual, and he had, through his own seeking, he had actually managed in the end to connect. He's given us a different map, but he's leading us to the unconscious. One thing he got wrong, she said to me, you don't have to go through the past to overcome it, to get over it, which was interesting, because so many of the methods are about expiating the past. However, he was a realized soul. He got there through his intense, relentless scientific seeking. So it is another side of the coin. But we don't have the instruments. We don't know there's an instrument, which I think is one of the great cultural gaps that we have to fill, which is to get into the mainstream the knowledge that there is a subtle system, there is a mechanism, and the goal of our existence is actually to get self-realization. That's what this whole journey and adventure of life, with its ups and downs, adventures and misadventures, is all about, to lead us to get it in this lifetime, not beyond it, which is what our established religions tell us. That's a bit of a long answer, sorry.
No, that's awesome. No, that's very well said. I think you hit the nail, on the head, that yes, it's the seeking in this lifetime, and and you're right, like in India, we do get a lot of guardrails to walk between, and the people tell you that, yeah, this is how it was done. So we tend to follow that. Whereas I think you rightly said that if that knowledge is given, people are seekers then,
They know. Yeah, they have an instrument, they have a map.
Exactly. And I think in US, I think earlier on, Sri Mataji came, as I heard in, I think, couple of weeks back, there was a time of false gurus too in US. So they caused a lot of problems in the, and cults and all that. So people are a little scared of gurus in US. And I think Sri Mataji tried to come and try to tell people that, hey, beware of these things, and then she had to go back or something. But yeah, that happened in US, that people were demagogues, and that misled the people too. So I think that's where I felt Europeans have more seekers, I felt, and thanks for validating that.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, and Sri Mataji did rightly condemn the false gurus, because not only did they lead people astray, but they damaged them and damage their subtle systems that take a lifetime to repair. Yeah. And it's very very sad. And Sri Mataji spent so much time, a lot of her time, repairing the damage, and in so doing, working out the methods and techniques that we all now enjoy. Thanks to those seekers, we have also the techniques are there that we can apply to actually fix our mechanism.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question.
Hey, Uncle Victor. This is Prithvi from San Francisco Bay. First of all, like glad to have you over here, and I had like two questions to ask you.
Go
The
ahead.
first one, yeah, the first one was like you mentioned, like back in your day, like 40 years ago, or whenever you came to Sahaja, or just before you came to Sahaja.
Yeah.
You said that there was this lack of joy that you felt that you could never, get back. That joy that you were talking about.
Yeah, that's fine.
So like you've been in search for a while now. Did you ever come across, or did you ever go back to that state of, where you felt, that joy, that lack of joy, or has it always been like a full well?
No, no, not at all. You have to. It's like you receive your realization, and you experience what it is to be in an optimal state, okay, of being, consciousness, and it's sustained by this energy. And then it fluctuates in your daily life because you come across and you have to deal with Maya and duality. And yes, I got, let's say, recurrent moments of feeling down, but never in the depths that I had in the past. And I always knew that when I had a low moment, and a difficult moment, I knew there was a way out of it, and I knew how. So that immediately allowed me to witness and detach myself from what I was feeling as a human being in my life, and still learning how to navigate through life as a yogi, with a legacy and conditionings of a human being, normal as we are, and it's a living process. And so, but I had the instruments, and I also had a role. Shri Mataji gave me a kind of a job to do, as she gives all of us a job to do, which is to spread it, to share it. And in the sharing of it, as we all know, it flows more intensely. The joy of giving realization to someone else is greater, I would say, than the joy that I personally experience, because it's a moment of where Shri Mataji is pleased, the divine is pleased. You can feel it, and you feel proud, you feel blessed that somebody else can get this connection, and somehow it's amplified, it's an amplification on a deeper level than what you feel as your own, which is actually I digress a little bit, but I do think it's important that if you look at, as a seeker, at all the different sacred writings and of realized souls and whatever, it's very much focused on one's own individual self-realizations, the dissolving of the barriers of ego, so that you achieve this oneness in the ocean of consciousness, and then you're just dissolved. You're no longer the ego. You're just one with that. Of course, in Sahaja Yoga, we learn that consciousness, that ocean, is made up of droplets that are all the fragments of divinity that exist in human form, in human bodies, that have to, yet again, merge together to complete that dimension. And of course, you feel the collectivity, the idea of collective consciousness, and the responsibility we have to connect with each other, to unite, is reflected also on a human level in the idea of a family, which Sahaja Yoga is. It's not an institution; it's a family. It's not an organization, a world family, and that's the thing. I would give encouragement to anybody who sometimes we all have difficulties, but we all know where to come home. We know where home is. And we're never orphans in the world again, like seekers.
Right.
I don't know if that helps.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I was just trying to get your thoughts, because you've been a veteran for a while, been a veteran yogi, one of the veteran yogis. So, and by that I mean like being in search for a really pretty long period of time.
Yeah, a long
So
time. It's taken a long time to work a lot of stuff out. I mean, that's true. It's true, definitely. But it's in the giving that there's the receiving. Whatever one's condition at any particular given moment, by Shri Mataji's grace, you can awaken Kundalini in others. And very often they might have an even deeper experience than you have and had, because for some reason their subtle system is prepared, it's ready. In fact, most people nowadays who come to Sahaja Yoga, they're not like us old battle-worn seekers. They just go into the joy, into the thoughtlessness. It's all wonderful, it's great. They can assimilate Sahaja Yoga in their own worldview. It's not as challenging as it was to all of us, because now the idea of meditation is much more mainstream. It isn't associated with alternative. It's actually become something desirable that should be part. So yes, and I'm still growing, I would say, and I still have stuff to work out. Absolutely, I have to confront myself every day. But you're connected. You feel the flow, and you can rise above it and witness it. The witnessing, the ability to witness it, but admit it. So I'm feeling this today. I feel this. I'm not going to squeeze it, squash it, and push it away and deny it, because like a jack in the box, it'll come back and it has a sting in its tail. So, no, I feel this. I feel this. And Mother, I surrender it to Mother. Mother, I feel this. Please take it away. Mother, I offer it to you. I offer it. Please take it away. And by taking it out, you create the space for something to come in. The healing to take place. So, and she says it in one of the earliest descriptions of instructions on how to meditate. She talks about the manas, and how after you've said the, Ganesha mantra, the Our Father, the Lord's Prayer to clear the Agnya, then put your attention on what you feel. What are you feeling? Your emotions. And to offer the emotions to her, to surrender them. So there's never should be any denial or blocking or forcing yourself into a place which you cannot force yourself into. You have to rise into it, and you have to let go of stuff. So I think it's the lovely thing with Sahaja Yoga. We can be very honest. If our desire is pure and we want to grow, we can face anything, within and without, and overcome it, thanks to Sahaja Yoga.
Sure, absolutely. Well said. The other question I had was, so I'm pretty sure like you have your fair share of experience, dealing with new people. So in these 40 or however much time you have.
Nearly 39, yeah.
Yeah. So that's quite a long time. And that period of time, like, what do you feel should be, like, I'm just talking about your perspective, like, what is the principle, what is the principle, what is Mr. Victor's principle that you bear in mind when talking to new people? Because you talk to them with the intention of them getting into search and accepting, or hopefully have them accept Sri Mataji for who she is at some point in time down the line. So, or if it could be a very different approach that you take, but eventually all of us have this desire that they should someday be come to that point where they accept Sri Mataji for who she truly is. So I mean, I'm just I'm just trying to get perspectives from people across.
Yeah.
the world.
I get it. I hear you, and I think I understand. And the biggest test for me with that was when I was in Saudi Arabia. I worked in Saudi Arabia for 2.5 years, and you couldn't talk about it in the way that we talk about it. And what I did was, in the compound where I was living, I started a meditation meeting, and I called it meditate to regenerate because everybody was stressed and bored and depressed because they're far from home. And I just put an ad on Facebook on the page, and people came along, and we did a very simple awakening exercise. And mainly it was about, the idea was try and get them to experience it before you tell them what it is, kind of thing, or who Mother is, for example. Let them feel it. And by her grace, it was a very, very nice experience. In the end, we ended up with just 2 people staying over a period of months, and they happened to be 2 Muslim ladies, one from Pakistan and the other was Saudi, but she'd been abroad. She'd been, and she was working, and she was living with her husband. They were both married on the compound, and they didn't wear abayas all the time in the compound. They were quite not westernized exactly, but they traveled, and they were both very, very deep. And the approach I adopted with them was simply to have experiences of meditation. And so we would have Sahaja yoga, in which we had affirmations and leading them into, and of course, into a deep connection with the mother principle within them. And they went immediately into very deep. I had some of the deepest meditations I've ever had in my Sahaj life with those 2 sisters from an Islamic background. And there was never any problem or issue or barrier because they were seekers, evolved souls. And I was coming to the end of my contract, and I knew my desire was I'm going to teach them everything they need to know, so that when I go, they are self-sufficient, connected with Mother. There's no collective here, but they know Mother. So what I did in the last few meetings is I said, today all the exercises that you've done with me, as I've always said, are nothing to do with me. They're all thanks to her. I always said that whenever we did these meditations, which were in inverted commas led, but actually it was the Kundalini leading me or leading us into this state of I said, Shimataji, who evolved the techniques, she will give the class today. So I found a lovely tape on YouTube of Shimataji's early talks in Cambridge, where she was actually showing people how to work on themselves. And she talked about mantras. And the mantras she talked about the Agnya, Jesus, and she talked about the void, Muhammad, the Prophet. I'd randomly chosen that. I'd found it by accident. I didn't even know that part was coming. That was it. And so before I actually showed that, I showed them a short video of the Great Mother, of who Mother actually is. And I remember them, I said, when you watch this video, you can listen, but also listen with your hands, listen with the vibrations. And I put this tape on of Sri Mataji and showing her life's work and everything. And I remember at the end of it, this lady, I won't mention her name because there are always security issues there and they monitor everything and I can't. And she said to me, I said, so? And she said, wow, Victor, did this person exist? Did she really exist? How lucky you were. How lucky you were in your lifetime to meet such a person. I mean, that was so humbling to know that. And I immediately thought, gosh, have I made the most of this blessing? And she said, what an amazing person. And she taught you all this. Yes, she taught us all this. And it's for you, and we can share it with everyone. And then we listened to the instructional one about the mantras, and she said, and it was interesting, that on the subtle system, you have the deities, and if you take the name, for example, of Jesus, feel the vibrations. Take and another, Muhammad. If you take the name of Muhammad, see what you feel. And then at the end, I said, so we'll take the cue from Sri Mataji, and today we'll say the mantras, and let's try. I said, what do you feel? to them. What finger do you feel today? And she said, I feel this finger, the Agnya. And I said, okay, so the Agnya, as Sri Mataji said, well, Lord, Jesus opened the Agnya, let's take his name. And so we said the mantra with Lord Jesus' name. It went into meditation. So what else do you feel? I feel something here in my stomach. At the top, I said, right, as Sri Mataji said, well, let's take the name of Muhammad, because he was the one who led us through the sea of illusion, beyond it to the spirit. Let's take his name. And so we took his name in the mantra, very simple affirmation, Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Muhammad Namo Namaha, just very, very simple. And they were in meditation. There were no issues. No issues, no questions. When I left Saudi Arabia, they gave me a present, and it was oud, which is this beautiful concentration of essences in a paste that you burn, and it gives a beautiful fragrant smoke. And they said, we're giving you this gift because it's the most precious thing that we have and that we can offer to you, who has made us feel our own essence. And I said, well, then this gift rightfully doesn't belong to me, but to Sri Mataji, who has given us this technique. I mean, everything is from her. So if I may have your permission, I would like to offer it to Sri Mataji when I go back to Italy, at her home in Cabela. And they said, they had tears in these eyes, these two ladies. Would you really do that? Would you? We're so grateful. And so what was humbling about that experience was their depth and devotion, which very pure Islamic ladies, they had devotion, true devotion and surrender. And this is what we have to learn. And the respect that I have from our brothers and sisters from other cultures is, and India, of course, supreme, this bhakti and devotion and respect for the divine, and therefore the respect for others who have the divine within them. And that acknowledgement, that was just deep. And coming back to your question, what do I feel? I remember Mother's words when you approach a seeker, when I approach a seeker, Mother said, what is love? Love is concern. And so concern, the caring for other people, how are they feeling it? Are they well? How are they experiencing it? And they can feel that beyond the vibration. It's not just an impersonal kind of electrical charge or impulse, that's transmitted from one transmitter to another. It's actually a spiritual awakening, union, and experience. And that dimension of spirituality is very not stimulated. There's nothing in our culture in the West very much that conveys it and awakens it in our daily lives and in our culture. So our culture, the culture of the spirit, essentially is the somehow investing of the spirit in our actions towards each other, in our expressions, in the way that we relate to each other. And that is something I feel that will keep people and hold them in our midst until they have an experience of recognition of Sri Mataji. So very often it's not what you tell them, it's what not to tell them, so that you don't challenge them, so that they have enough time to keep coming back to have an experience. So creating the space for them to have this genuine experience and recognition of Sri Mataji, which is spontaneous. It's no use telling anybody. You have to feel it. But it is, as you said, rightly said, it is the key to our growth. There's no way we can progress or go anywhere after realization without relating to her somehow.
Sure. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Uncle.
It's getting quite late. It's for everybody. I hope we're not people. But I forget. You don't have to go to work. Well, I don't have to go to work because I work here, so that's no problem.
Hello, Victor. This is Arda. How are you?
Arda, Baya, brother, how are you? Jai Shri
Good,
Mataji.
good. I'm listening to you without blinking my eyes. You know, it's so wonderful. It's so much vibrations, and I I
Thank you.
really, felt so emotional also when you sang "Sacred Mother." It's so many memories came to my mind, and I believe this song is a beautiful song that we can use in public programs and everywhere. So I'd appreciate if you can share with us the chords, and we can learn the song and using the programs. And if you have any, like, I don't know, what was your inspiration? When did you make the song? Or if you ever sang this song to Shrimati, if you can share with us, that would be
Thank you.
wonderful.
First of all, Arda, yes, I will share it as a follow-up to this meeting. I'll make a small recording for you and anybody with breaking down the chords with the words. This song was composed in 92, maybe, when Mother was in Cabela and we were blessed to live in the house. And she was upstairs one morning. She'd come back from one of her journeys, her tours. And I woke up with actually, I wasn't feeling very well, and I was trying to meditate, and I just wasn't flowing. And I thought, oh, what can I do? I just picked up the guitar and started composing a song, which was, again, it was a song about. I just felt gratitude. I just felt Mother's goes everywhere. She's has so much time for everyone, and she's here, and I'm here, and thank you, Mother. That's the feeling that I had, and then I wrote it, and I didn't feel vibrations as many times when I write songs. I wasn't in particularly. I could say, I was in a deep meditative state or anything, but it just came and flowed, and I wrote it down, and played it, left it there for a few days, came back to it, tinkered with it, tried to adjust some words, melody. And then I started playing it to people, to friends, just randomly, who I knew were friendly and would give me, might like it, people who I thought might like my music. And they said, oh, it's lovely, it's wonderful. And then I plucked up the courage and I played it in a meditation, and then it became more in demand. And I started writing more songs. And then at a public program in Geneva, in a beautiful, beautiful garden. Arda, there you are, my friend. Good to see you.
It's wonderful
Hug,
to see you.
hug, big hug. And I was able to sing to her, to the public in a public program where Mother was present, and with the yogis singing the chorus, and it was really nice. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, this is so wonderful. Every moment in this program, I felt my Kundalini vibrations all over. So thanks to you, and thanks to Shenai
Well,
for arranging this. It's a beautiful backdrop, by the way, Shenai, behind you. I love it. So thank you again, Jai Shri Mataji.
Jai Shri Mataji, thank you.
Lots of love.
Thank you very much. But I just wanted, as a footnote, to say that the Victor you see now is thanks to Mother, thanks to you, thanks to this collective event, that we can be the best part of ourselves to bear witness to her work, which is, to transform all of us and somehow to connect with each other just makes it stronger. If I sing on my own, it's never the same. So it's thanks to you. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Hello, Victor.
Hello. Who's there?
Hi, it's Lucia.
Ciao, Lucia. Sorella, come stai?
Bene. Volevo salutarti. I wanted to say hi, and it was fantastic. I felt so much vibrations and all these memories. I know you for a long time, but I never knew all your stories, so it was really interesting.
No, it's incredible. You can meet people every year for decades, and you never stop and sit down and have a chat and get to know each other because we know each other already on the vibration spiritually, you know.
Yes, yes. So thank you so
Doesn't
much.
matter.
It was so nice to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you,
Send my
Lucy.
love to Purna, everyone.
I definitely will. And you to your husband.
Thank you.
So yeah, I apologize. I didn't see the other messages which is coming after the which you start. And sorry, I apologize to Victor also because she already wrote some beautiful words towards you. But anyway, she expressed it now. I think she couldn't stop herself, right, Lucia? So I missed this message of her, and then I would like to read very quickly others because you got so many messages. I really want you to hear, Victor, before we end the program. So Anju is saying, thank you, Victor. You took us a beautiful journey with your stories. Love your singing. And
Thank you.
Bhuva, thank you very much for your sharing and amazing musical songs and interesting stories. Blessed to hear different stories from.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pretty. Thank you, Victor, for beautiful meditation and stories. Saila
Thank you.
says that thank you, Victor, for sharing beautiful music and stories. Had tears in my eyes. Yes, me too. Yeah. Had tears in my eyes when you told about your first meeting with Shumataji, Jai Shumataji. Özge, thank you so much for meditation, great music, and also for these joyful and soulful memories. Özge may be joining from Turkey, I don't know, but first time I see her name here.
Actually, she's from San Diego, Chennai, and
Yes.
she just started. She started a couple of years back, but you know, this is so wonderful that she attended today and listened these beautiful memories and songs. I don't know if she wants to say something about it, but
thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. It was really deep meditation and great storytelling. I wish I had some of those memories together with Shirmateji. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All I can say just in reply to that is that probably, I mean, without a doubt, we needed Mother's physical presence. She needed to work on it. You know, I bow to you and I bow to all those who have the depths of recognition that you have without having seen Mother physically. So, you know, I bow to you and yours and to others who haven't, who are but feel her and are connected with her.
Exactly. I agree with you. We always admire who never seen Shumataji, who physically, but we really admire how they feel the love that we feel, and same respect and the same devotion, and of course the vibrations tell. Vibrations are the big fact that they
Yes. Yes.
I really admire, and I really want to bow to everyone too. This is really amazing. This is really so. Two more. Shailaja again send another message. Thank you again, Victor. Like said, I also felt that the stories were going on a screen that I could see.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Because you put everyone by the, each person such a places, and you made a story those, and it was like a movie in front of us. It was wonderful.
Oh, thanks for the opportunity to share them.
Very nice. And very nice. She says Jish Mataji. Yeah. So I know it's quite late. We started. I don't know if you realize, Victor. We started with the 56 people. And then, of course, it is right now night over here, 11:20 in the night. But we are now with the 25 people still there. there is one beautiful song which is from Kabir. I know it's not too long. Could you please sing for us before we go to sleep? Before you go to work?
Yeah, I will. I will sing it with great pleasure because Kabir was such a brave, courageous, divine soul who actually encouraged humanity to seek. So he was like a guru, awakening the pure desire in us to unite with God. And this is what. But he spoke to people as a friend. He very humble. This is called "Oh Friend." Just make sure it's in tune. Just a minute. This is what we do with ourselves when we meditate. We tune up. Okay. Oh friend. Oh friend, hope for him whilst you live. Know whilst you live, understand whilst you live. For in life deliverance abides, deliverance abides. If your bonds be not broken in life, what hope of deliverance in death? It is just a dream that the soul can have union with him when it leaves the body. He is found now, he is found then, or dwells in the city of death. It is just a dream, a dream, a dream, a dream that the soul can have union when it leaves the body. If he is found now, he is found then, or dwells in the city of death. For in life, in life, in life, in life, deliverance abides, deliverance, deliverance abides. Have union now, and have it for eternity. Bathe in the truth. Recognize the true master. Have faith in the true name. For in life, in life, in life, in life, Bolo Sakshat Shri Adishakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Ki Jai.
Hey. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I mean, time, as always, is not enough. And we always ask this question, can you please come again? Can you please be
Oh, with
again?
pleasure.
We
With
always
pleasure.
ask this question.
Thank you. And perhaps with my wife, Purna.
Purnam, Max, and of course, Leon. We would
Yeah.
love to have everyone
Yeah.
if it is possible, of course.
Yes, yes, yes. My pleasure. Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure.
So nice. So nice.
Beautiful, beautiful to have this opportunity. Thank you, everybody, for being with us.
I think someone wants to say something. Oh, okay.
Yeah, just wanted to say thank you so much, Victor. It really brought me to the old days when Shimataji used to visit Los Angeles. We used to meet so many yogis from so many different countries. And really, you brought back those days where, you know, like the pure joy, and you feel that the whole world is with you. That is
Yeah.
the feeling. That is the feeling that I feel right now.
She has the whole world in her hands.
Yeah, thank you so much. You
Thank
really
you.
enjoyed all your experience and
And
all the music, your voice, amazing.
thank you. I hope we meet. I hope we meet and you can tell me your stories, all of your
Definitely,
stories.
definitely. Yeah, thank you.
Wow.
Actually, Victor, partly you know it, he is my husband.
Ah, oh, wow. A
A
taste.
little bit story about, you know, as I told you at the early meeting, and yeah, you know, a little bit, but of course he has so many stories individually, with, personally with Shrimataji, yeah. So,
We should share them. We must share them because it bears witness to her
Exactly. Sure,
work.
sure, definitely.
You know.
I'll be very happy, joyful. Yeah. Yeah. So I had same thing when I came to Sahaj, and when I was when I was in the puja in one of the birthday pujas early in 96, 97 that year, and I was like I was so new, like just 1 or 2 years in Sahaj Yoga, and when I see that people had so much love towards Shimataji, so I used to think I was sitting far behind, like, you know, there are like 20, 30,000 people in the program,
Wow.
Nizamuddin in Delhi. So I used to always feel, I just prayed to the heart, Shimataji, the whole yogis, the whole world, they all love you. I wish we can love each other that much. I wish we can respect and love each other and have that spiritual feeling, you know. And when I came here to US, I really felt that union when I used to see people from different countries, come yogis from Italy, from Germany, Austria, Australia. The whole world came together, and I really felt that connection. Just
That,
wanted to share. Yeah.
thank you, because it's the most important thing that I try to remember, that we are a world family. It's like, to honor her, we must love each other.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all her
Exactly.
children, and I agree that that's so important.
Yeah, because we are all a reflection of God. We are all have the reflection, the Atma, which is actually the Paramatma, right? And we all have that. We carry that reflection. And once, you know, that spirit shines within us, we are all one. There's no the other.
That's it. That's it. It's true.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll definitely talk again.
Thank you. Yeah, we must.
Definitely.
Hopefully in the States. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Jai Shri Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you. I love you all. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Jai Shri Mataji.
Jai Shri Mataji.
thank you, Mataji Victor, and please give our love and regards to your family and all the Sahyogis over there. And thank you giving lots of time. Actually, we took your time, and of course we took your amazing experience, that we listened, that we really enjoyed. It is not enough, as I told, but we love to have you again.
Well, thank you so much. It was my pleasure, and it's time. It's golden time. Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, it's our It's our pleasure. It's really our pleasure. Thank
So,
you.
Jai Shri Mataji, goodbye, everybody. Jai Shri
Thank
Mataji.
you, Jai Shri Mataji. Thanks to all your family, everyone.
Thank you, Atesh. Thank you.
Bye bye, Victor. Bye bye.
Bye bye, everyone, and thank you so much in joining for our programs and for your patience, for your attendance is most important. And as we always at the beginning we say, we try to integrate whole world with actually this knowledge of divine, universal knowledge, and also the all-pervading power of divine love with the experience, with the music. And personally, I enjoy a lot, and hopefully you all did it. So please come again for the next Tuesday. We will have another Sahaja sister will come, and but have a good night. And I know we took your time, but lots of love to you. Bye. Jai Shri Mataji. Have a good
Jai Shri
night.
Mataji. Bye bye.
Good night, everyone.